Hello, Katie.
Hello,
How are you
how are
today?
you? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good,
I'm good.
good. I'm glad it's just you, actually. I was going to ask, because I haven't done the face to face, how many hours do I need to do for this?
So you'll attend 10 of these classes that'll take you up to 20 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you did hours before that. So you've been attending before that.
yeah,
So that'll be added to it. And because of the organization you work with, and you're kind of in this on a daily basis,
yeah,
you have a good environment to achieve those hours.
yeah.
So there's no problem there.
Okay.
It's just really in place for people who are doing a private practice. They haven't got a working organization to work with. They don't do this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
don't
Got you.
worry about that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And I think I'm about a third of the way through the um training material online, so I'll get that
Okay.
out and done.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Yes, there. All right. Where's everyone else?
I do not know. I
All
do
right.
not
Well,
know.
let's start on time because that's the right thing to do.
Okay.
So, would you like to check in?
I will check in. Today I'm feeling quite empowered. Um, yeah, empowered. I feel I've taken control of some things that need to be taken control of and have been supported in that. So, yes, I'm empowered. That is definitely my word for today.
Cool. Charlie, your time's
Hey,
perfect. You're just in
Hey,
time for the check-in.
I am checking in as high as a kite.
Oh, good. Did you have a good session now?
Yeah, I did. Thanks. I was really, do you know, it's amazing how the brain and the mind works, isn't it? I was feeling really tired this morning, really lethargic. David called me to hold space on the other call, and then the mind and the brain went, it just went,
yeah.
and I had this nervous excitement. But yeah, it went really well. Thanks, David.
Great. Who attended?
Gugu. Gugu was phenomenal, and Bruno and Titswana, I think her name was. I had
Tim
to ask,
Swallow.
yeah, Titswana. I had to ask them both. Am I pronouncing your name right? I get this kind of like white guilt again, don't I? Like going in, am I like, like, but they were phenomenal, phenomenal.
Wonderful. Hello, Kai. Would you like to check in?
Hi, I'm checking in quick. I'm gonna have my camera off today just because there's quite a few people coming in and out of the room.
No
And
problem.
yeah, but yeah, I think I'm checking in quite well. Just very busy week, yet again. But yeah,
Okay.
not too bad.
All right. So I'm checking in. I'm busy moving, so I've got that kind of chaos. I just had to dump Charlie in it, and I just blagged it, and I said, Charlie, this is a good lesson for you in on-the-spot leadership. It's crisis, chaos, and conflict, but actually, it was just me being manipulative around poor planning. So yeah. Thanks for holding that space, Charlie. I'm not sure where everyone else is. I was expecting the Irish people to join us from St. Kalpa. Yeah, so we're streaming. We're streaming to the Recovery Connections IT infrastructure. There's a private YouTube channel there. And the reason that we're doing that is we want to capture, to create a body of evidence so we can kind of analyze what's working and what's not working. And we can evidence the proof of people's progress. Yeah. So why don't we start off with that? And we'll start off with the question around how have you individually progressed in your role? So let's start there, and let's start with Mystic Meg.
Yeah, I think the learning this stuff, I hold a space now on a Tuesday evening as a kind of informal, for want of a better word, meeting. It's a meeting of minds, a meeting of people who are not even necessarily in recovery yet, but are perhaps curious around that. And I've found what I've learned here has really helped me to be able to hold a space and to create the container, if you like, and be led by the people that come to group. What do they need today? What's their agenda going to be for today? So in a very small part, it's already really progressed and it's become very popular. Within the space of a couple of months, we've got regulars of at least 10 people joining. So I know I'm doing something right. I feel I'm doing something right. Yeah. And actually also within that, I came in today checking in as feeling empowered, that I've actually gaining that confidence to know that as best I can, I'm doing the right thing. It's going okay. Yeah, so that's how I feel it has really sort of helped me so far.
Fantastic. So you've got confidence in creating a container, holding the space and allowing the agenda to emerge. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. All right, let's go to you, Charlie.
The question is how am I progressing in my role, with the training? I think how I'm progressing in my role for the recovery training is as I'm progressing as a person. I'm progressing. I'm progressing through my thinking, but I'm also progressing through what I call my relearning and my learning. I'm progressing through my listening skills. And just the ability to look at the containers and kind of take in, instead of being like, and sometimes this does happen, like I'll just go into my own mind but I become aware, whereas previously, like I've been unaware previously before this my training. So I feel as if I'm just really at the nucleus or the start of this fantastic training. And I feel it's progressing me, first of all, as a person. And I think that's really important, because if I wasn't progressing as a person, then I couldn't see me progressing in my role. So I think because I'm progressing as a person first from the inside, because the inside really counts to me, progressing inside from the microcosm really, really is really what I'm all about. So the progression I'm happy having actually is that the Blueberry Health and Wellbeing Wellness Group that I run for the last year and a half now. I've realised now it's kind of on its last legs of doing stuff, and I had been, and I've always known that it was kind of running its course, but I'd been holding on to it really, really tightly because I didn't want it to end. I didn't want it to end because I loved it, you know, I loved it, but it was ending naturally, and I really didn't want it to end naturally. I didn't. So I'm kind of like, because of the training and because of what's come in, I can now let that go naturally. It's still difficult to let something go, which your baby. So I'm trying to let that go naturally. And there's a couple of things now that are coming in that's taking over that. My podcast now is going to go into its second series, which I wasn't too sure about how that was going to develop. But I've had some great meetings on the next development of the podcast, and then the progression of the training means now that I can start coaching, but start my own wee coaching business from the ground level up. I don't have any money, I don't have anything like this, but I've got people that are coming into my life to help me. Like a friend has offered me his in service to build me a little website, but it's just a little brochure website. It's just a little landing pad. So I've got that in the next couple of my weeks. So I feel as if I'm just, the wellness stuff has came in and it's going now, and now I'm progressing onto something else, which I'm really excited about. I'm really, really excited about this next step, this next development, or the next progression. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I hope all that made sense. I'm anxious.
You're anxious.
I'm anxious. I get anxious, and when I talk passionately, I get really anxious.
Okay, so your kokorozashi is getting stoked there, yeah, and I can relate to that, yeah. And my anxiety is about: am I being misunderstood? Am I not? Am I coming across all right? Am I like, oh, yeah, all right. Kai, let's hear from you, mate.
I think it's the sort of progress I'm making is largely like professional, if that makes sense. So it's in terms of mostly just the job role, but I think the things that have sort of helped the most has been particularly sort of like motivational interviewing type of things, so that, you know, those one-to-one sort of conversations with people where you're not going like, David, you should do this, but you sort of going like, all right, you want to do that, let's sort of have a look at why, what's that going to lead to, all that type of stuff, and kind of getting people to sort of look a bit deeper into themselves, rather than obviously somebody else just, going, yeah, don't do that. But so I think there's that side of it, obviously, in the one-to-ones with motivational interviewing, that I found is I'm sort of getting my own style of that and getting it down to not like a routine, because it's different with every person, but I find myself that increasingly I know what to say to kind of like prod a bit, if that makes sense. And in groups as well, so the groups I do, I'm finding it's helping with that, obviously, just keeping sort of consistency, keeping groups a safe place, and things like that. So I think that's sort of what I'm taking from this.
Okay, great. All right. So now the question is, what's the next step for you and within your organization?
Is that for me or for everyone?
It's for everyone, but you're welcome to go first if you want, Kai.
I think the next step for me is just to kind of maintain where I'm at. So like I've got my caseload and things now, and it's just keeping up with supporting those people on my caseload to the sort of best of my ability and to the sort of their own specific needs. So at the moment I'm focused mainly on just maintaining a sort of like a good quality of support, if that makes sense.
Yep. Can I ask some questions? How
Yeah, of
big
course.
is your caseload?
So at the moment it's fairly small, so it's 10 people. And then I also run a couple of groups on top of that.
Okay. And what would be the maximum capacity?
It constantly sort of shifts as new people come and go, but it's generally people are on about 15 to 20.
Okay, so that's a healthy amount.
Aye.
And anything more than 20 starts to get abusive of the role and the organization, especially if you're running groups as well. So I've come across some organizations where the case managers have 40, 50, 60 people, and it's just too overwhelming. It's too thinly spread. And so, okay, so 10 to 15, 20 maximum, and you're doing groups. So if you were doing 20, if you had a caseload of 20, that would be 4 individuals a day for an hour long, and then the groups as well. Okay. Hey, is that Clarissa?
Hold on, I'm just going to rename myself.
Oh, there we go. Hello, day program.
There you go.
There
Hi.
you go.
Hey,
How you love? Do you want to check in?
Yeah, I'm I'm Clarissa, and I'm a raw volunteer.
A raw volunteer, great.
Raw, and
Raw.
rushed off my feet, but glad to be here.
Okay, great. So the first question we asked today was what? Katie, Charlie, Kai, can you remember? How has this training helped you in your current role? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second question is what's next, or what needs to happen next? Is that correct? I've forgotten.
yes.
I've forgotten the powerful questions.
Mm.
Okay. So let's go to you, Clarissa, if you don't mind. Just tell us what your role is at Raw, and then how this is supporting you in that role.
So my role is a volunteer,
Yeah.
and it is supporting me to pause and listen.
Okay. All right.
So have more I was going to say intelligent conversation, but I don't mean that. Just informative conversation with new people that I meet.
So I get what you mean when you say intelligent conversations. It's yeah, but they certainly are wiser and deeper
Yes, that's
when we listen more. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, so that's great. All right. So I'll just go to Katie and Charlie, and then we'll come back to you, Clarissa. Okay. So Katie, what do you need going forward? What's
Well, I think the idea for me going forward is to be able to bring to the group of volunteers within Raw what I have been learning, so that I can impart those skills, those listening skills, the holding the space skills. I can pass that on to them, whilst also looking after their well-being. So my aim is to enrich the volunteers' lives going forward, if you like. So support them, supporting other people.
right?
Yeah,
So the volunteers are your clients.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I would support that as well.
Mm.
I would. That makes sense. So part of my role is to support the volunteers so that they can go and do what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Okay. That sounds quite wise. Charlie?
Yeah, I see my role going forward is to take this coaching to like a kind of wider audience than addiction and recovery. I've kind of come up with an idea, like, and I've kind of got round this through my friends in circles. That all I've got loads of friends who are not in recovery, but they're like professional big drinkers or the doctors, nurses, and all of this stuff. And now that I've realised everyone has their agenda, and we can to facilitate on their agenda, then I plan to kind of take this out and to try and help professional people who may be just drinking too much. It may be like, I know loads of people who go home and they crack open a bottle of wine, and then they'll have the second bottle of wine, and they know that they just need to cut back a little, but they may not be alcoholic, they may not be want to go into AA, they just need a little bit of help cutting back, and it's to help them in their agenda. So that's where I see my next progression being, is to have this coaching and facilitate it to like a wider audience out there.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hoping.
All right. So you're going to build your own private executive recovery coaching practice.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're going to let your wellness project come to an end. So
naturally, yeah.
Okay, cool. So your next step is to build a private practice, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Katie, remember we were talking just before you joined, Charlie. Katie was concerned about getting the coaching hours.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, because she's working in an organization that's established that meets people on a daily basis, she's going to be getting those hours, yeah? And we really have that in place for people that are starting their own private practice, because a lot of people kind of say, okay, well, I'm a coach now.
Yeah.
They do a weekend's training and they run out, but they've got no fucking experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So the next part of your training here is to support you in developing your private practice and your podcast series as well.
Yeah.
Great.
So
okay.
The first part of that, I'm fucking shitting myself.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So I'm going to frap you here. Yeah. Thank God you're shitting yourself, because that means we can support you, and you can have some willingness to learn stuff. Yeah. It's when people don't shit themselves, for want of a better word, go out there with a whole lot of confidence and go and cause a whole lot of harm without realizing it.
Can I just say that's such a relief?
Yeah. And the world is full of people like that, and it brings disrepute to the role and the profession. Yeah. We can't stop people calling themselves a recovery coach. Yeah. But we can create an environment where we certify the role of the professional recovery coach. Yeah. And this part of the training is to develop you within the organization that you're working. So we can develop you in building your private practice if that's what you want. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So Kai answered the question. Yep. He said it's managing his caseload, kind of just staying steady and moving along. Yeah. So let's go to you, Clarissa.
So I haven't spoken this out loud yet, so Katie, I apologise. So what I would like to do is, once we've all done our training at Raw, to set up a clinic.
Okay.
So perhaps on a Friday or something like that, where the clients the service users that we have can book in, and we'd volunteer to take sections of it.
Okay. That's really exciting. Can you So as soon as you say that, I think, oh yes, there's a fantastic thing to get involved in and to support. So,
Mm.
so, so what are the immediate challenges you face when you say, I haven't told Katie this? What's
Because I've been, it's been up here, it's been in here.
okay? Okay, all
So
right.
the immediate challenges for me would be to obviously have the opportunity to share it with the other guys that have done this coaching, because for me, I can't see the point of doing this coaching and not doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and obviously to then see where we go from there. So the logistics of it would be something that I would need to look into, as in what platform we do it on and how we can book people in and things like that.
All right. So tell us what your vision is. What does Fridays look like?
So Fridays to me look like, you know, we'd all take everyone that was happy to volunteer to do this clinic, we'll call it a clinic for now, would have a booking system online where the clients could then, the service users could book in, and we'd volunteer an hour, 2 hours of our time.
Okay. And what would the outcome of the clinic be?
That we've got no spaces because everyone's using it.
Yeah, no. Okay, so that would be a success. But I mean,
Okay.
what do you? I mean, the word clinic, yeah, kind of suggests some sort of treatment.
Yeah. So coaching.
Coaching. Okay.
Yeah,
right,
sorry, I should have made that clear. So obviously what I was saying was the guys that have done this coaching, for me, it's about giving back. So I would then happily volunteer to set up a coaching day where people, service users, could come in, book their slot with whoever they want to, and get an hour's coaching.
Okay, cool. So you want to set up a recovery coaching clinic?
That'll be the one, yeah.
Okay, so that's fantastic.
That's free.
A free recovery coaching clinic. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to go into competition with me and Charlie, who are trying to run private coaching practices.
I think the clientele might be slightly different.
Yeah, no, it's really is close to my heart. That yeah, the more freer the better, because I really think yeah, it's, I mean, if anything, that's a value of mine that impacts me financially, because I'm so excited and just want people to benefit from this. The downside of that is it becomes quite difficult to run an organization that's kind of fair for the employees. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a difficult balance between vocational work and business work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about getting the balance right. But you want to open up a free coaching clinic, and bloody tastic. Okay.
So and obviously through Raw.
Yeah. So let's just see how that landed with Katie.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I agree completely that we, are doing this training. Let's use it. I mean, I think we use it in our day-to-day anyway, but I think being able to offer something else, another arm of the recovery model, if you like, the system, another arm, it's always a good thing, 100%. Again, it's the logistics, but that's something we can sort out, another time. Having the vision and the ideas is so important, and having people willing to work towards doing that kind of thing. So yeah, okay. It's all good with me.
Okay, so you'd like to support Clarissa in her vision and her idea and the project. Okay, cool. All right. So now we've got buy-in. Yeah. All right. So Charlie, Kai, would you like to support Clarissa in this?
Love to support Clarissa in it. Absolutely love to support. I think it's a fabulous idea.
Okay, great. Kai?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's similar to what we do here, so I think it's a fantastic idea.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so you've got the support of the container, Clarissa. Yeah. And this could be part of your kind of portfolio of evidence or something. Look, when I did this and I did the systemic wellness, this is what we did to prove, yeah, that this works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's wonderful as well. All right. And I know you love communication.
Yay!
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So how did Clarissa do in communicating her vision to the container? Are you open for some feedback, Clarissa?
Yeah, I am. Just remember, I'm a bit menopausal. So I do lose my words, you know, but it went a fine pitch.
Okay, so I'll give you some feedback. Yeah. I notice you beat yourself up unnecessarily over bullshit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so what if you couldn't find the words? It's like, guys, I want to create a clinic for, for people that making use of the service already, and I want to provide it for free. And it must be a space for where people have one-to-one coaching sessions. I want to get something out of this training, and because I feel it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing for Raw. But I mean, that's what I heard Clarissa say. Katie, Charlie, Kai, what did you hear?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Clarissa, you do that thing where you question and doubt yourself. You've like got this thing in your head and you want to get it out so quickly that it's like sometimes you jumble it just because of that, because of your passion, and it doesn't matter. We all got what you meant. You know, it doesn't matter, but that's what you do. I see you do it because I can see the brain going ting, ting, ting. This is all great stuff. And I need to like put it out there. You know, just come out.
You know me too well.
But it's nice, you know, that enthusiasm. I love that. You know, I'm enthusiastic myself about recovering that, and I love that enthusiasm. So yeah, that's my constructiveness. It's all there, and you're just like, pooh.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
I thought it was quite it was clear, you know, like I understood what you meant by it, even though there was the but I think it's one of the things where it's just part of your personality, and I understood what you meant. You might not have said it in like the fucking like Queen's English perfect sentence type of thing, but it's authenticity in it. I have the same issue where I stumble over my words when I'm trying to explain something. I think that matters less than what you're getting across, if that makes sense. If people understand it, I don't think there's an issue with how it was communicated, basically.
Thank you.
Charlie?
Yeah, I see loads of passion in you. That's what I see. I see that you've got self-doubt, and that comes from someone who lives in self-doubt all the time. And the more that I've been in these containers, the more I've realised that self-doubt is so priceless. Is well, because we've all got that lack of confidence, but I mean, when you speak it out and you're like, God, I've actually spoke this out. This isn't that bad an idea at all. And, you know, every idea, man, comes from a thought. And if we don't have the thought, then we simply don't have the ideas. And I just love that way of thinking, because if we don't have that way of thinking and those ideas, then nothing will happen. So to have those entrepreneurial ideas and thinking, right, I've got the coaching, right, what's the next step on this development? You're already one step ahead. And you're like, the idea, the thought, oh man, I could do this. So how am I going to do it? The coaching, and you know, and all this all comes into one, and then you go, blah, and you speak out, and then you know. So I recognise that in you and me as well in the containers. So fabulous. Keep going. That's what I would say. Keep thinking.
Thank you.
So Clarissa, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, good. good. I do. You're right. I do. Yeah, I do.
All right.
I need to work on that. I know.
All right. So if everyone's all right, let's take a couple of steps further, going towards manifesting Carissa's vision. Are we okay to do that? Yeah. So we're using coaching now to move a little bit further down the road. Yeah. So Katie, in your role as volunteer coordinator, how best can Carissa support you in your role of coordinating volunteers to service users or people or whatever the word is that
Yeah. Okay, so I guess identifying people that would be receptive to this, you know, identifying people that this would be useful to, and mean it as well. You know, I think there's got to be a passion coming from the clients, you know, about this stuff. So starting off by identifying those people who would be interested in doing something like that, and then we can start to work around what that looks like. You know, getting an idea of what people would want from that. You know, would they want to have, like, the practicalities? Would they like to go into a place for a 1 hour session, or would they like to sit in the comfort of their own home and have a online session? You know, and looking at all that. So I guess research around what is actually wanted from the clients, because it's meeting them where they're at, isn't it? Not what we want.
Okay. So Katie, that's fantastic. Yeah. But the question I asked you was, what do you need in terms of supporting the volunteers?
Okay.
Because you don't want to create a program where the people from the community come and then there's no volunteer to see them, whether that's online or in person. And that's your role.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so I guess, you know, it's honesty is what I want from, you know, how you can help is, you know, this isn't working, or I need this, you know, give it to me. That's the main thing I want, support wise, you know, and communication. Like we said, you know, it can get really lost when you're in an organization where you don't necessarily see people all the time, you know, and things can get lost. So communication and honesty, yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So co-creative, collaborative conversations around the communication of how the fuck you heard Cax.
Yes, exactly that. Yes.
All right. Kai, have you got any lived experience in this area that might be able to add to the wisdom here?
Yeah, so sort of as somebody would, I suppose, work in the role that you want in the sort of volunteers to work in. I think one of the things I always feed back to my manager is just that sort of physical presence and that availability to be asked for support, if that makes sense. Because I think obviously she's very busy as well, but I ask an irritating amount of questions because I think in a way because I kind of give a shit and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is right, which means sometimes I might send 10 emails or something going, oh, I've done this, is this? And most of the time it's fine, but it's just having that sort of, that feedback and that constant sort of availability for the people doing it, which is difficult to sort of juggle, but it's just, you know, trying to do that as much as humanly possible, basically.
Great. So just to slow it down a bit, I asked a yes/no question, and the yes/no was, Kai, do you have any experience in this? Yeah. And the reason I asked that was kind of like, who the fuck knows how to do this? Who's had some experience? Yeah. So Kai then said yes, and then he started to share his lived experience and how he does it and how he interacts with his manager. And he said, like, what I loved about what he said is, because I give a shit. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing as leaders that you want to maintain in the organization, so that people can kind of live the values and, put their money where their mouth is. Yeah. So that was fantastic, Kai. All right. Let's hear from Charlie.
What do you want to hear?
Whatever you want to say.
I think to Clarissa, as someone who's trying to just at the cuffs of, I'm trying to start my little coaching business and don't really know what I'm doing and feeling about the kind of dark. I don't even like to call myself a coach yet because I don't feel that way, but I still feel I'm still feeling about in the dark. I think it's so important that I'm around the same sort of people that can advise me and guide me, and just being around that same energy. Because there's going to be times when I'm going to fuck up, or my ideas are going to go, and like I don't go down, I go up the way. I don't get depressed. I'm like a kite in the wind, and you need to like hold me back down. So for me, it's always been important to put like a small group of people around me who get me absolutely 100%. They get my values, they get who I am. And I don't mind when they say, "Oh, Charlie, man, you're up there. I mean, your ideas are fucking way out." And I like that, actually. So for me, what's really important is to put real people beside me who are going to tell me the truth. And being in these containers as well as that, actually, is being around the same sort of energy, the same sort of vibe, the same ideas, the same kind of talk. For me, that's something really important, because I've never worked in recovery as such. I don't know what a recovery coach is, even though I'm learning it as I go along and shitting myself as I'm going along. But what I do know, being like nearly 2 years now sober, is that I can either have a cup of the ocean or I can have the full ocean. And if I don't choose to go through my fear, i.e. come on these containers and talk, I'm never going to experience the full ocean. So that's what I would say. Just keep walking, keep doing what you're doing, and put good people around you, real people.
How does that feel, Clarissa, listening to Charlie?
Yeah, I was just going like that because like you've got to go through it to get the benefits of it, and learn. That's what I picked up from what you were saying, and that's my ethos as well. Is that we have to face our fears, and whether it's going to work or not, does it really matter? If it does, at least it's tried.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else did Charlie say?
He said about I just heard that. I heard like in a nutshell.
How long has he been in recovery?
It's been 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what sort of energy do you think Charlie carries one in terms of? Yeah. Okay.
Flying like a kite.
Okay. And would
I
you
was
say?
listening.
And would you say Charlie is committed?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right.
But committed, but fearful.
Yeah. So I would support that. I would say Charlie's pretty committed. And as Charlie was talking, I had a thought. Yeah. Now, your volunteers for this clinic, do they have to come from your area, or can they be from around the country in terms of online stuff?
That's a question for Katie.
Well, let's just. I just want to, as part of your vision. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think personal opinion is when we're using things like Zoom and that, it should be it could be remote.
Okay. All right. So it's a possibility. So you're kind of open to the idea of expanding your volunteer footprint to be out of the Kent area and to kind of be elsewhere in the country.
I think it would, I think it would have to be an exception if you're going where I think you might be going. So say for someone in the container that wanted to, we could bend, I don't know. I think it's meant to be East Kent, isn't it, Katie? You know what I'm saying, don't you?
I know exactly what you're saying, but I think for this session, I'm like, this is blue sky thinking. I hate that term, but for this session, it's like, okay, so what could happen? Because actually, in my ideal world, I would love to have a free treatment program that we could run and that would incorporate all those kind of things, you know, recovery coach training, as well as perhaps along the lines of fellowship. And, you know, so blue sky thinking, I think absolutely do anything the fuck we want, you know, if we could, that is attainable to anything that will produce some real benefit to society is all right in my book. But that doesn't mean, you know, practically we can do that. But if we're like, because I think we're all really passionate about recovery here, you know, and if we can facilitate something, then why not?
So yes,
so I've got my own agenda going off here. Yeah. and when my own agenda's going off, I need to really listen to it and then just try and wind it in, and then bust it. And this was your topic, Clarissa. You came in here and you said, this is my vision, and this, I'd like to open a clinic on Fridays. And then we brought in the role of volunteer coordinator, and Katie stays at home and coordinates volunteers. And she mentioned in person and online. And when she mentioned that, then I started to think, oh, okay. If Charlie was a coach that could be part of this, how would you onboard him, Katie? How would you vet whether someone is suitable to volunteer within the Raw organization?
That's absolute. I do all of that online. I have the capabilities of doing all of that online. So you know, that's one of the things that there isn't any barriers to. Actually, we, you know, in the real world, there would be no reason why someone like Charlie couldn't do that. You know, that is entirely possible.
In the real world, I love it. Are we not in the real world now?
No, this is the thing, isn't it? I guess we build these safe containers and it's like, okay, we're in this really safe space, and it's may not always, or in my head, it may not always transfer to the wider populace, if you like, which is interesting, you know, that I think that way. You know, that we do build these safe things, and in this safe container, anything is possible.
Okay. So I just want to go, Clarissa.
So, okay, so let's forget about the coaching thing. I want a rehab. I want a rehab.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Clarissa, when you came here in the beginning and you spoke about your vision, there was a whole lot of false beliefs in your head that kept you small.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
false, some realistic.
Yeah, no, I get, but you thought, but when we checked in the container, you actually articulated yourself well and communicated well. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. And now you want to go and build the fucking rehab.
Yeah, and it's going to have all little drop-in centres, and like it's going to be massive.
Okay. All right. Okay. How's everyone feeling? Let's just whip around the container. How's everyone doing? Charlie, how
Fantastic.
are you doing?
I'm feeling fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I was so tired 2 hours ago, and I'm like, this is fucking brilliant.
Hi,
I'm
how are
moving
you
to
doing?
Kent. I'm moving to Kent.
Build the rehab, build it, and they will come.
Kai, how are you doing?
Uh,
Are you still there?
yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I think just fine. I'm absolutely knackered, but it's a nice sort of little. I don't know, like I know we're talking about like the real world and stuff and how it doesn't seem like it, but it is kind of like a little escape before I have to go back to, this and that and following up on this and oh this lady who I've rang's still not coming in today. She said, all that type of stuff. So it's nice to sort of get away from that.
Okay, so this is like a nice little sanctuary.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, fantastic. What a lovely comment. What a compliment. Okay, that's great. All right, Katie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling enthusiastic and actually acknowledging that this is a little safe space for me, a little thing where actually it is possible to discuss all these things, because I get drawn in to the daily grind, if you like, of all the stuff I have to do, and I forget my passion. And my passion is getting people well, helping to get people well. And this reminds me of that. So it's, I came in, like, oh, it's another day. I've been doing this, and this. So and so's pissing me off, blah, blah, blah. And then actually, this is what it's all about. So, yeah, it's good.
Cool. All right. Larissa, did you see the petrol you've brought to this fire?
Yeah. I'm lethal. I am when I come when I get going. No, I do lethal. I do get very passionate about. I'm the same as Katie. I think me and Katie have known each other for a little while now, and we've got the same sort of passions there, haven't we? And obviously, just only meeting Charlie and Kai for the past couple of weeks, it's just clear to see that we're all passionate about helping others.
Okay. So there's a common purpose in the group.
Mm.
Yeah. And the group is sort of moving in the right direction or a similar direction. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's a good thing. Okay. All right. So leaders need followers, and followers need leaders.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is this a good time to take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's take an 8-minute break and come back at 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, see you in
Cool.
a minute.
Yay, Katie's back.
Hello.
Charlie's back. Kai's
Hello.
back.
Just to let you know, David, I might have to briefly take a call at past. Is that
That is
okay?
absolutely fine.
Thank you.
It's absolutely fine. Right. So, what's the first thing we do, Katie?
We check in. Build the container.
for
We
it.
check in. Okay, I am checking in with enthusiasm, coming back with a bit of my own agenda after the last conversation, because actually we serve, for want of a better word, the people of Kent. It doesn't mean the people that volunteer have to be from Kent. So just putting that out there, and yeah, enthusiastic about that you know there's more options when you start thinking outside the box. And
Fantastic. Who are you tagging?
I will tag Clarissa.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good. That was a nice little conversation. I enjoyed that. And I will tag Kai.
I'm checking quite happy, partly because I have that call later because I've been trying to get in contact with this person for fucking ages, but it's like, so that kind of, that frustration like wears off when you go like, because she's a busy person, it's not her fault, but it's like, I just need to get in contact, please. But I think it's also nice, the sort of discussion we were having about like, just kind of see like where other people are taking things, if that makes sense. Because at the moment I'm happy where I am, but it's sort of, what might I do in the future type of thing. It's just nice to sort of hear, I suppose, what other people are thinking of doing. And I will tag Charlie.
Thanks, Kai. I am checking in, enthusiastic and curious to see what fuel is going to be poured over the fire this half of the container, and to see what Clarissa's going to bring. Thanks, Kai.
So, just before we go there, Katie, I want to acknowledge your just get some wisdom about what you did. You just kind of went and checked, who do we serve? Like, what are we responsible? What's our mandate as a Lero, as a raw Lero? And you said to serve the people in Kent, East Kent, what?
It's actually the whole of Kent, although we're not there yet, but the idea is the whole of Kent.
Okay, great. Yeah. So your vision to expand is to serve the whole of Kent. Okay. However, you could take volunteers from anywhere.
Yep.
If it was online.
Yep.
Okay. Great. How does that statement land with you, Clarissa?
That is what I would expect, but I have grown to come across obstacles. So I suppose in a way it was protecting myself. I think it's an amazing thing and it makes logical sense to me.
What do you mean obstacles and protecting yourself? If you're okay to talk about that?
Yeah, I sometimes get too excited and then someone will put an obstacle in my way, and when I just, so when I'm not, I know, but when I'm unsure of what the procedure is, that's why Kate is there for me to ask.
And if I can come into that, because I get that, and finding my feet, because I'm still really new in the role, in the scheme of things. I'm only 6 months in. It's taken me this amount of time to really find my feet. But what I have found is that actually, if I can make things happen, then I have the power to kind of do it, as long as the the proper safety procedures are in place, then everything else is okay. And I kind of take the consequences if it's not, because I have been left to my own devices. So I'm starting to really take that and run with it. Like I was saying at my check-in, I'm starting to feel a little bit empowered that I can start to use my own initiative for good, if you like.
So you're empowered in your role, and you have agency to do your job.
Yes.
Which is so important. Lots of people wait for permission and abdicate that sort of stuff, and nothing happens. People just end up sitting around and fucking complaining the whole time.
I find that it's like what you said. First of all, it's more about me trusting myself, because at this time within the Raw organisation, I know that for me personally, I can only do so much, because I do a lot of stuff and I'm really aware of putting my hands up for things. And I almost come with the idea with this one, that's why I haven't shared it, with the knowledge that I'm going to have to, it's not for me to be in charge of, to lead. It's a group thing. With Raw, I really do believe, for me, it's about everybody working together. So for me, it's not about taking on the role of I'm going to do this and this is going to go by my expectations. It's about everybody having their input and their insight into it. I was just merely here to put a little bit of an idea together.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to say, shut the fuck up, we're going in this direction.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think that it's nice that Katie can do that.
And that's what we did here. Yeah, you communicated your vision, yeah, and you collaborated with Katie, and then Katie spoke the wisdom of her role, yeah, and you bowed down to her wisdom.
Yeah, and that was my intent. That is my intent.
Yeah, okay. So that's leading with the humility. It's leading with like, fuck guys, this is my vision. Oh, how can we get there? Is it possible for us to get there?
Yeah.
What needs to happen? Those are questions. Yeah. How are we going to get there? Is it possible? And is it possible is a yes, no question. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hi, if you were to summarize this container, how would you do that? In fact, let me be more prescriptive. Kai, do you mind summarizing what we've spoken about in this container for the past hour?
So essentially we started off with how has this sort of training impacted in our role and kind of where we want it to take us next. And from that developed into, obviously Clarissa wants to sort of start this as a, start introducing the one-on-one sort of coaching sessions into her organization. And then from that point on, kind of just looking at, okay, so what actually needs to happen? What are some of the obstacles? How is this going to sort of operate in sort of delegation with Katie and sort of the rest of the group as well, to kind of push forward onto, right, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, if that sort of makes sense.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right. So Clarissa, I'm just going to go out of a coaching role. Yeah. And I just want to go into fucking personal, mad, enthusiastic David, whose tail wobbles like a slobbering Labrador out of excitement. And if I get too excited, I'm going to pee on the floor. Yeah. So I just want to take on that role. So, from the Ubuntu Academy of Coaching Training, which is a community interest corporation, we are mandated to go out and to partner with organizations and develop lived experience recovery organizations to teach them and empower them that they can go off and create external recovery capital. We need to find a place for our students to practice their coaching and to bring their magic. We would love to partner with RAW in that way. Back into roll. Okay. Right. So one of the challenges which we were talking about with Katie beforehand is finding time for people that want to practice their coaching, in that, And we've got this whole workforce that we're developing, but if the workforce doesn't have opportunities to work, then it's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And our workforce is essentially coaches. Yeah. And there's lots of stuff to do out there. Yeah. And so I'm glad Katie kind of said, our region is Kent. Yeah. And if we're going to go out there and market, we need to make sure we've got capacity. And if need be, we could pull in coaches from outside of the Kent area, but they need to be serving our community in Kent. I think that's fantastic. And I would love to support that. I would really love to support that. So I do work with Epic Restart Foundation, developing them as well. And they're a gambling charity, and they've got 12 people, but they're a national organization. Whereas Recovery Connections has about 120 people, and they work in the Northeast. So, and I'm a one-man show, and I work globally. Fuck that shit. I want to cure the world of addiction. Cool. All right. Oh, I get so invigorated with these calls. It gives me such meaning and purpose. Thank you all. Really, thank you for just being such willing students coming along to kind of learn this stuff with me. I'm also a student in this. Oh, okay. So where should we go? I would be curious, for me, is what would the onboarding process be from a paperwork perspective for Katie? Yeah. And the other organizations that I work with, they all have various different IT systems. I know one organization uses Salesforce, another organization uses Asana. We use kind of WhatsApp, and other people use emails. Other people just say, yeah, fuck it, come, you're part of the tribe now, let's go. So
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about the topic of onboarding and orientation.
Yep. Okay. We use a system. Now, this is not set in stone because at the moment we use a system called Kinetic.
Okay.
And because we use it from our parent organisation, the Forward Trust. I am in the process of shifting that because we are hoping to move away. It's quite a convoluted system. But as it stands now, it would be people apply for a position. We take the application, interview someone, usually online, because I do it, two of us do it. We interview people, look at what their motivation is for volunteering, why they would like to volunteer, know a bit more about us, all that sort of thing. The next steps would be seeing some ID, because we have to do a DBS check, obviously. So we get the ID in place, that's uploaded, someone has to see it, and the DBS is sent off into the realms of, for God knows how long going back. And then the next part of that would be we have specific e-learning that has to be done, which is safeguarding, health and safety, and data protection. So there's 3 modules of e-learning that you have to do before you are fully onboarded. And that's it, really. You know, obviously we do some informal inductions and that kind of thing, but paperwork wise, that's it. And then before actually coming into the role and after the DBS check, you have a risk assessment. And that is more for the safety of the volunteers. Because, you know, we're going to get people come back with criminal records because of what we work in. You know, it's pretty damn obvious. It's about placing people in positions where they're going to be safe if they can manage working with people in these realms of recovery. And then from that point, from my perspective, I then supervise and I give monthly supervision. I'm a bit too reachable on the phone during the process. But that's it. You know, it's not complicated. And the e-learning is very simple. You can bash it out really quickly. It's just the ticking the boxes, really, making sure that you follow those standards of safeguarding and the GDPR. So that's it.
Can I steal those?
Yes, of course you can.
All right. Have you got your cell phone with you?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. And you've got me in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just send me those four things that need to be added. DBS, health and what was it? Risk assessment.
DBS is the first. Then the e-learn is health and safety, safeguarding, and GDPR, and then risk assessment. Those are so it's 5. It's 5 main things.
And where do they do the learning from? Is that like a public thing, or is it a private cost that you have to pay someone?
We have access to, again, the parent company's e-learning.
Okay. All right. So
but a lot of that, again, it's something I'm going to be researching. A lot of that you could probably find for free, if I'm honest. Again, something I'm going to be researching.
Yeah. So, and I hope you're okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
But Charlie, yeah, if you could start to do that stuff in the background for building your private practice. So you can say, okay, I'm Charlie, I'm a certified coach. I've got here's my DBS, here's my health and safety. I don't pick my nose in public form. Yeah.
Charlie, if you're, I don't know if you can take my number off of the group, but I'm happy to chat with you about that. If give you those things if you need. I don't know.
If you got my pen and paper there, I'll just give you.
Just give me the number. Then it's better if that's all right with everyone.
No, I don't think we can. Can we, David? No.
Yeah, of course you can. But you should be connected in WhatsApp.
Okay.
Through the community of practice group and the KIC group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just give him my phone number as well?
Yeah, just do it anyway, just in case.
Right. Go for it.
07305.
07305, yeah.
761.
761, yeah.
351.
351. Perfect.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And have you got emails?
Emails. Charlie Morrison.
One S or 2 S's?
2 S's. M-O-R. No, sorry, 1 S.
Fucking hell, Charlie. You can't even spell your own
honestly, it's been a
surname.
long fucking day. I've been up since 5. Fucking hell. Charlie Morrison 806@gmail.com.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
Wonderful.
It's all good. It's all good.
Thanks, Katie.
No problem. No problem at all.
Okay. So, Katie, I find this incredibly helpful for me, and I hope you're okay with me taking it, because I want to make that now part of people's accreditation. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so when somebody is UAC certified, we know that they meet this requirements for UK standards.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
Absolutely.
Are you okay with me taking your wisdom?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Good.
My wisdom is stolen from other people, so feel free
Yeah,
to steal
okay.
it from me. And as I said, you know, I am looking at making some changes and making it my own going forward, so I can share that with you, anything I find as I go, you know.
Thank
Right.
you.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to a WhatsApp form, where people can upload those documents using the WhatsApp form link, so that we can then create a database of people's records. And I just had to pay fucking £40 to some data protection agency for, you know, to like, does somebody know where the data's stored in your organization, or they were going to fine me £400? I was like, oh God, I didn't even see the follow-up email that you said. Yeah. And yeah. So those things I find frustrate me in trying to get things done, because I get really enthusiastic. I'm like Clarissa. I just want to fucking charge ahead and go, fuck it, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And then I need somebody to come and mop up after me. And what I'm trying to do now is to do the mopping up myself.
Yeah. And I've personally found that, because my whole ethos is enthusiasm, recovery. Let's just get on and do it and screw all that stuff. So this has had a massive learning curve for me to actually start learning this stuff, and actually, okay, yes, we've got to do this, but also we've got to be safe and we've got to be reputable. You know, we've got to be so that people want to work with us, for us, whatever. You know, it's very important to have those things in place. And it drives me nuts. I hate it, but I know it has to be done.
Yeah. Cool. Kai, how are you feeling as you listen to the container?
I suppose a bit lost, because this is a sort of area I don't have any real, you know, experience with, if that makes sense. I've not been in control of things like this before.
Yep. So Recovery Connections is a mature, lived experienced organization. And these things have been put in place over the years.
Yeah.
And Kai, my advice is, if you don't need to know about them, then don't, because they really are frustrating.
Well, but I mean, the frustrating part is, if you don't know about it, it becomes frustrating. Yeah. If you do know about it and you have clarity, it's like, okay, well, dugga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Clarissa, where's your thinking at?
Oh, I'm just enjoying the fact that we've sort of started off from a small little thing that I just happened to mention out of my head, and it's grown into something so much more.
Right. Okay. So where would you like to take your little thing?
Right, so this is just me in my head. It's telling me that I need to put some sort of business plan together.
Okay. What does that look like?
So that looks like something very different to what I had a vision of, is to just actually get down my vision on paper rather than it being up here, and sharing it with Katie.
All right. And if you were to describe your vision?
Is exactly what I said earlier, is to have, I mean, obviously I'd love to run a brilliant rehab and cure the world, but it would be to have and I was quite specific about a Friday, and I don't know why, but it would be to have use this training in a positive way and to have some drop-in sessions for
So the
not
Raw
drop-in, not
Friday,
drop-in, not drop-in. Yeah, the Raw would have coaching sessions bookable for service users.
so what about the Raw Friday drop-in online clinic?
Yeah, that's it. That's why I've got to get it on paper because I call it something different every time.
Okay,
But
all
the
right.
vision's still the same.
Okay, so Katie, write that down.
You're going to get me going now. So what I vision
Good.
is that we would have, now I'm thinking there's, I'm sure there's my hairdresser or my beautician uses it. It's something called Bookable or something like that. So it's an online booking site. So we would get volunteers, Katie, that have done this training, that are accredited, that we would then pull them together, suggest to them that we have these time slots, and we would have a booking system for service users to then be able to book in for a one-to-one coaching session with the person that they would want to do coaching with. So when they've done their initial coaching session, which would probably be like an introduction, they would then be able to go on and book that same coach for the next session, which once again can be done through the online booking. You could do it together while you're on that session. I think that you would have to put an amount of coaching sessions that could be had because it's a free session. So a bit like you can get 12 weeks counselling for free through the NHS, it would be something that we'd have to contain because obviously it could become quite desirable. But I suppose you could then use, yeah, that's it. And I see it as being quite self-sufficient once it's up and running, because actually all the counsellors got, or all the coaches got to do is be logging on at the right time onto the platform that we use to be able to see their service user.
Absolutely. And we already have a Zoom platform that is paid for. So there would be no need for anything extra in that. And it would be definitely a two-way street because, like, as David was saying, he's got these people that are ready to coach. They need to do their hours. They're ready to do this, so we can help them, and they are helping us. It's a two-way, two-way street, isn't it?
100%, a bit like pro bono. Is that what you say? Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
There you go. So yeah, that's my vision.
Okay. So from UACT African perspective, yeah, we use Gmail because it's free. We use Gmail Calendar, and there's the booking system on there that people can book, and use Google Meet as the platform because that's free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and that means anyone, anywhere at any time can join that and have a connection. So Charlie Morrison with one S 0820 at gmail.com, yeah, could have a Google Meet meeting with somebody that wanted a coaching session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what? I'm so excited now. I'm going
to go. Okay. All right. So, and the reason I'm doing this is you don't need a fucking business plan.
No, I know.
Yeah, you don't. People will tell you need it. Yeah. They'll say, well, what's your plan? What's your this? You're not asking for money. Yeah.
No.
You're just saying, how are we going to coordinate this and what works?
Yeah.
for your Lero. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got an idea. You've spoken to Katie about it. What about the other members of Raw?
So that would be like it would be obviously communication. So I still, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, Katie, I haven't been on a meeting yet, have I? Because I don't know if there has been one, has there?
There's only been the committee meetings, my love,
Yeah.
and because there has been trouble getting people who are just volunteers meeting up. But you know, there's been a bit of a reshuffle, David. So you know, maybe that's something we can pick up. But Clarissa, I can, in the first instance, take it forward to the committee group, put it in there, and then I can't see any pushback on that at all anyway. But as we are a committee, it does have to go. You know, we are
Yeah, absolutely.
it has to be, you know, okayed by everyone. Yeah. But then, you know, I can't see any problem with that. And then it's something that we can have a meeting about, or you know, whatever going forward. But in the first instance, to get the nod to start looking at this stuff and putting it into practice, I can bring it, I can put it in there, and I can pretty much tell you it will be a yes. I'm pretty sure, you know. So there you go, next steps already in place.
Okay. Hi, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Yep. What's your wisdom here? What would you like to add to the container?
So sort of regarding setting it. Oh, sorry.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is you said you needed to maybe leave at 3:30 or something. So
yeah, I'm just waiting for the call if she does end up calling, which my fingers are crossed for, but a good chance that it might not happen. But
all right. So there's something. Yeah. So a volunteer agrees to do this, takes time out of their life, and then the person doesn't connect.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going to handle that? Or how as an organization, how do you handle that?
For me, it would be to make sure that people that are volunteering to be the coaches, that their expectation, that's part of the expectation. Like you said, David, when we come over to Ashford for our training, it was like very much we're dealing with people that possibly are chaotic. They might not turn up.
Okay.
And that's why I'm thinking that online would be better.
A lot better. All right. So Charlie, yeah. How many people attended the 3-day training that I did up in Hartlepool?
Roughly about 15 to 20.
Yep. And how many people have come to the Systemic Wellness Practitioners follow-up?
At the start or now?
Now.
Only me.
Exactly. Okay. So that number is pretty normal around the world.
Yeah.
Lots of people say, yeah, we're going to do it, fucking stand by, yeah. And then the consistency drops. Yeah. And we're okay with that because it becomes part of someone's certification process. So what that does is it weeds out people that are unable to commit. Yeah. It's not a shame-based thing, but it's just like this is grown-up work. Yeah. This is like this isn't a weekend training where you can run off and kind of go and do things. There's lots of shit out there like that, but we don't do that. Yeah. So Charlie, also I just want to honor you for your tenacity as well. And you're an asset here. Yeah.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. So we've coached about 2,000 people. In fact, way more than that. But on our online system, there's about 2,000 coaches. And of that 2,000, we've got about 200 that are certified. Yep. And of that, we got about 10 people, possibly 20, that can facilitate. Yeah. So many come, a few stick, and even fewer stick around even more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not a failure. That's a success. Yeah. What would make it a failure is if people thought that that wasn't a success. You've got to have the numbers. You've got to put people through the trainings. You've got to this and that. Where are the numbers? How are you like, fuck people? We're dealing with people that are coming from chaotic lives that just don't live like that. And that doesn't mean... Yes, Kai?
Sorry, I was going to say, I think that's something that sort of really resonates with me at the moment. Just because obviously, I think we have, as like an organization, I think it's some type of review or some shit like that coming up. And so everything has to look nice and sparkly. But I think in my role, at least at the moment, that is putting the people I support second. In that, for example, there's a gentleman yesterday who he came in, but he suffers from really bad anxiety. And I mean, this guy was, breathing heavily, and I suffer from anxiety myself, so I know that that's fucking horrible to have to be put out of your comfort zone like that. And that I think that's something I'm having an issue with at the moment, is that sort of, we get hammered into us. You meet people where they're at. So this guy only wants phone calls. I'm fine with that. But then you get from up above, actually he needs to come in to do this, that's going to look good on a piece of paper to some auditors. And that's kind of something that's really pissing me off at the moment, where I don't want to operate this way. This is not the way I want to do it, but I feel like I've sort of lost a bit of autonomy over it.
I can hear your frustration in your voice, Kai.
I think it is because I am now sort of having, like that gentleman yesterday, I put him in an uncomfortable situation, and I didn't feel right about that at all. And I've made clear that I didn't feel right about that, but it's a difficult thing, I think, where yes, it's important that, this audit or whatever it is goes well, because that's where our funding comes from, and that's how we support people. But at the same time, I think at some point the individual's getting lost there in regard for the bigger picture, but there is no bigger picture without made up of those individuals, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's something I'm going to feed back in the sort of next meeting I have with my manager. Of this is making me feel very uncomfortable having to operate like this.
Great. Okay. So part of being a systemic wellness practitioner is being able to communicate your frustration, of what the role is calling for in the organization. So the organization is calling for results that look like this, that can fill a certain report or something, and that's not working. Katie, do you mind? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Yeah. But do you mind talking about your how we've managed to support you in completing the training? If you're okay to talk about it.
Yes, got you. Yeah, absolutely. And actually I can speak a little bit more on that. So you're talking about microphobia, yeah?
There we go.
Yeah. Yes, of course, it's fine. Just say it, David, fuck's sake. It's all good. Not only that actually, but also my recovery journey. So this is to Kai, to maybe put across to other people that I couldn't get to rehab or anything like that because of my agoraphobia. I couldn't get into drop-in sessions. I couldn't get into anything. It was too massive, and it was a self-perpetuating cycle. Thankfully, the East Kent Forward Trust has just started their online rehab. So I was able to join that 5 days a week, which got me straight away starting on that road to recovery, if you like. And actually since then, I have had to have my fights along the way, which I do. And being armed with the facts now and a little bit more knowledgeable, I feel that I can advocate for people who are perhaps in similar situations, maybe slightly different, but a similar thing. And so actually coming on to this, there's been no barriers for me. I've done everything from my home online, doing this course. It's absolutely no problem. And David's been really accommodating for that. And actually, there's no reason why most people can't make reasonable adjustments. And I think that's the key word that you probably need to bring to your higher ups. Reasonable adjustments need to be made for certain people, because if they're not, their sickness will go on for much longer. When you look at the bigger picture, I came into recovery. I'm now a useful member of society working. I'm paying my taxes. I'm not getting benefits anymore. I'm able to use my experience to help other people. And all I needed was that equity, helping me up to the same level as everyone else. And that's, use that word, Kai, equity. It's a really good one. People like that word. So you're just giving people that extra bit of help they need to be on a level playing field. It's so damaging. I was left in that cycle of addiction for a long time because there wasn't the resources. And it doesn't take a lot to give those resources. My experience.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you've said, basically, and it's similar for me. So in my recovery, I suffered from extreme anxiety, so I didn't want to do, basically anything that required me to leave my house, because it, like you said, it creates that cycle and it just makes it fucking worse, and then you don't want to engage with stuff anymore, so you don't get better. And I think, like, the reason it's so sort of frustrating with this particular guy is because he knows exactly what he wants. He's at the moment, he's confident he can kind of do it himself, but he just wants somebody to call up and check on him, and he can discuss, this went really well this week. Actually, I've had a shit week. This is what happened. And he just wants a bit of sort of that, if that makes sense, just somebody to check in every week and give him, some tools if he needs them, or extra support around that. But it's because this particular piece of sort of like documentation requires consent to do, and that consent apparently has to be done in person. I've suggested, for example, could I not scan it over to him so he can read that through and then verbally confirm me, yeah, I consent to that, I've read it through. Could I email him it? Could I not set him up an account on the system so he can view that? But every time I've sort of had that pushback of, well, it has to be in person. And that's, it, in a way, I feel like I know what I need to do to make this guy, to make him comfortable enough to the point where he can be open and honest and engaged with his recovery. But a part of me feels like I'm a bit like, oh, fucking bureaucracy. Can I not just, what's the, I'm sure there is a reason why I can't do stuff like that, but I think it's something I need to bring up of, I feel like I am now failing this guy. Incidentally, when I did have the one-to-one meeting with him in person, he said that I made him feel very comfortable and things like that, which I was really happy for. But in my mind, I was still sort of like, I shouldn't have had to put him in that position in the first place. I shouldn't have had to make him feel comfortable. He should have felt comfortable doing it on the phone with me. And I don't know, it's just something this week in particular that's really, really bothered me.
Yeah. And actually, where is there equality training within that? Equality, diversity, all of that sort of thing. We are, as a system, meant to be very much supporting that these days. So I would definitely question it, around that, for sure. But it is hard because, part of my role is supporting my volunteers, but within that, my wanting to help people comes into it as well. So actually, sometimes I go outside the realm of my responsibility, which I know I shouldn't do, but I do because, like you, I feel bad if I don't. And that's part of my recovery. That's part of me being well. You know, I spent half an hour and a half on the phone to someone yesterday because they needed that extra support,
Yeah.
which is not available within my bit, if you like. And I'm not encouraging you for 1 minute to work outside the system or anything like that. But, you know, it's bearing those things in mind, what make you feel better, what make you feel more comfortable whilst doing what you can to get it done in the right way, you know?
Yeah. It's all quite valid stuff that I think just needs to be taken to the right person. And a part of me is worried that sort of nothing will come from it. But I'll try to be more optimistic than that, you know. I think that's just my sort of view in general, is one of, you know, that sort of glass empty type of thing.
Yeah, I get. Do you have an equality and inclusivity lead within your organisation? Do you know?
I'm not aware, but I think it's something I should look into finding out.
Yeah, have a look, because then that would be maybe something you could take up with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Charlie's crashing.
I'm crashed. I've crashed.
So, Charlie, I really want to acknowledge you for your stamina. Yeah. And Kai, what I want to say to you is, like, there's such a transformation of you being online here, and then when we did the in-person training. And I really just want to appreciate the value that you're bringing in the online space and how you've shared about your struggle. And and what we did with Katie is, as an organization, we said, okay, well, how can we adjust ourselves to support Katie to accommodate? Yeah, and then just to have some thinking around getting creative around that, as opposed to go, computer says no. Computer says no. All right. So let's start the checkout. So we can put Charlie out of his misery there. Yeah. Does anyone add anything before we do the checkout? I just want to add, I've had a wonderful class today. All right, good. Okay, so let's start the checkout. Should we start with you, Charlie, before you fall asleep?
I am checking. I am rather tired, actually, but I've had a wonderful few hours. It was amazing how the conversation just started from Clarissa's idea, and then it just blossomed into something that this could actually be. And when Katie went and had a wee bit of research, and it's like, fucking hell, this could actually happen. No, it's happening. We're taking it to the committee, and we'll be doing it next week. I loved that. I loved that. It was like just seeing it all unfold and all the action. It's been a wonderful container, and I feel so grateful that I've been here. Thank you to the four of you.
And Charlie, thank you for holding the leadership space today. And everyone, remember, there's a community of practice on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock in this Zoom room, where lots of different Leros come together and you guys can practice and do all your stuff as well. Okay. Clarissa, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I've had a really good time, actually. It's just nice to see it. Like Charlie said, you know, my idea actually was bubbling there, but it was your talking that brought it to the surface. So what you shared, Charlie, about your vision. So thank you for that. But no, I'm always tired. So, you know, there's no change there, but I'm really buzzing from this session. And so the session on Tuesday, David, can I just ask, is it the same as this?
It's similar. We never know what the
No,
container is
but
going to be.
So Ella and Tony accidentally booked appointments today when I
That's fine. Yeah.
Listen, so they can come in Tuesday, because I'll blank them out. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
it.
you guys can come Tuesdays and Thursdays. Your organization has paid for the 3-day and the follow-up, the
Yeah.
systemic wellness side. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. All right. Katie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you. I'm checking out feeling enthusiastic, a little bit more purposeful, excited. I love your enthusiasm, Charlie, every week because I hold myself back a little bit because I'm too much for people sometimes, and I've started to, and actually I've got to stop doing that because I love seeing the enthusiasm and I need to remember that, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And all of you, it's been a really nice session today. I've really enjoyed it, and it reminds me of why I do this stuff, so thank you very much.
Cool. Hi.
I am checking out quite well. It's nice to sort of have a bit of clarity, if that makes sense, about how to move forward with sort of issues that I'm having in my work, if that makes sense, with how things operate. I suppose empowerment, I guess, is the word. Of now I kind of know that, okay, this is what I should try to do. If it doesn't work, at least I've tried, type of thing. And yeah, so yeah, I think I'm checking out quite well.
Cool. All right. And is everyone all right with this recording to go out?
Yep.
Cool. I check out, so proud of you all. I think this has been a wonderful container, and it really feels like I've got such an anxiety about my self-worth. Yeah, and I always double check myself. And today, right now, I'm going to cry, but I really feel like this is adding value to the world. Yeah. Yeah, I just wish I could remember that, because fuck, the debating committee goes off in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Lots of love. Take care. Huh?
Thank
Lots
you.
of love, everyone. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Speak to
Bye,
you
everyone.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.